I mean, we've established we're definitely emotional, energetic beings,
Absolutely.
but let's go a little further into cosmic beings, because you talk a lot about the cosmic body and astrology. And I know there are a lot of doctors out there that I know personally that would say, all right, astrology is completely out of the picture here of science, guys. Like, why are we even talking about this? Whereas if you go back to, let's say, the early alchemists, which were really scientists, that was just a different name. Newton was an alchemist. Paracelsus was a great alchemist, Hermes. So they understood you need to look into the stars to truly understand, because we are cosmic beings. We are not just sitting on this earth completely in a vacuum. So can you go into that? Because you're self-taught astrology, but you really do lean in on that a lot with your work. So what does astrology mean to you?
So I just want to say that I completely understand if there's someone listening that's like, I can't believe we're even talking about astrology right now. It's bullshit. I get it. Listen, I'm very logical. I'm a trained interior architect. That's what I was doing before. I grew up with a father that's an aerospace engineer, right? I'm very left-brained, as well as being connected to spirit. So I completely understand that. You know, my dad still does not get it. And so we kind of laugh about it. And it's, you know, you just kind of accept that it's his journey. He doesn't need to get it, right? So I understand that if people are not open to it. But I also want to let people know that the reason why they're not open to it is because it's another program that we've been told that it's bullshit. So astrology, first of all, I want to say, is not horoscopes. I don't do horoscopes. You know, in some ways, horoscopes have made it mainstream, and it's really important for a crossover to bring things to the mainstream. But that's not true astrology. You know, it's not like, oh, every Taurus, you're just going to, you know, win $5 million, right? That's not the astrology that I do. When I had my awakening, I found astrology, and it was a tool for me to help me understand myself, because as I was having my awakening, my old self was dying. It was during I was going to say Great Depression. I'm like, maybe that was another lifetime. It was during the recession, back in the Great Depression, right? Oh my God. Okay, so it was that we just slipped into another lifetime.
I was going to say, we could jump back to other lifetimes if we want.
That was funny. So it was during the recession. There were no interior design jobs. I was also beginning to see that that wasn't my path of my soul's path, even though I liked it as a hobby and a passion, it wasn't my soul's path. So that being said, I learned astrology so I'm like, listen, I don't know who I am anymore. So once somebody showed me the chart, I was like, oh, this is really great. Let me understand my behavioral patterns. And that's what astrology is. It shows you your deeply ingrained behavioral patterns. It is psychology. You are not stuck. In Europe, also, a lot of the therapists know astrology too. And by the way, side note, when I used to do one-to-one readings, sometimes I would get in there within 10 minutes. We'd go to the 12th house. I would talk about their shit. And they're like, I've been in therapy a year and we're just getting to this, what we just did in 5-10 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, because it's all laid out right here. I can see your shit. I can see what gets you stuck and trips you out over and over again. And this is one of your greatest gifts because we're going to be moving through it. So side note there, that's how beautiful it is. So astrology, I used it to help myself understand, because I'm like, listen, maybe I don't know who I am. So I started putting together, oh, these are my strengths. This is what I'm good at. Oh, that's why I do this. That's why, oh, right. And so then I started learning my shadow energy, because we all have, I call it, we have a shadow and a higher octave of energy. And then we have 50,000 shades of gray in between, I like to call it. So astrology shows you, okay, well, what is my shit, right? What is my shadow energy? What is my higher octave? And then we have the choice of consciousness and awareness to then play out in the spectrum, right? So I learned my love life has been a disaster in the past, right? And so I have one of the hardest aspects with love, which is also something really beautiful and profound. But if you're playing out the shadow, which I have been my whole life because I didn't know, I was playing out the shadow. So I was kind of stuck in that frequency. So when I saw that, I said, oh my gosh, I understand why I was doing that. That makes sense. Well, what is the higher expression? That's right. Well, let me start using it for this. So that shifted everything. And then I started playing out this higher expression, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, again, we're energetic beings. I call it cosmic beings, cosmic body. We are frequency in this body, right? We are renting this body, but we are a soul. So our soul is choosing this frequency in this lifetime. The birth chart shows this is your energetic blueprint. This is who you are. Now, it doesn't mean you're stuck in this, but you know, I'm a Taurus sun, Cancer moon, Sagittarius rising. Those are behavioral patterns within me. I will never be an Aquarius rising, which is a different archetype if someone knows astrology. So I'm not even going to try to be that, right? So when you understand your archetypes, because everything in the universe is archetypal, even dreams and frequency, everything is archetypes. Astrology is archetypal language. So when you understand your archetypes, you understand how you're vibrating and how to increase it to a higher frequency. So this helps you with life. This helps you with your emotions. This helps you with career. This helps you with love. This helps you with health. This helps you with everything. So again, we are in a program and people love to make fun. I even said that today. If people are unaware, people love to make fun of something, to say, oh, that's such bullshit. But really, why? Because science said it was. Well, science is a beautiful thing. And it's also very limited to the human construct and human consciousness. Mm-hmm. So if science and if humanity hasn't identified it in this box, you're telling me that it doesn't exist. So tell me how you have an intuition of don't turn right. And if you would have turned right, you would have just got hit by a car, right? Or we have this all the time. So sometimes science can't, it can't validate everything about this human experience because it's very limited in a human construct. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And think about the limitation of the tools we use. We're just getting to the point where we're just starting to understand the quantum world. Just starting. Yet for the last 100 years, we've known we were absolutely in a quantum world. Some of the best, minds out there, including Einstein, Schrodinger, all explained it to us very well. And science agrees that we live in this quantum world, but we're not using that at all in medicine, really. We're not testing for energetic field, of that sort. Right. That is true, but it's science, right? It's right. Again, it has the limitations.
It's limited too. Yeah. And, the whole trust the science. I mean, that was the biggest, most brilliant marketing campaign I've ever heard. I mean, I give them credit. That is incredible. Right. But that's also feels very, I don't want to get too much into it, but it feels very much propaganda that we heard in World War II. Same kind of energy. Now, again, I am a Jewish person, so I'm going to say this. I'm not comparing what we went through to the Holocaust, but I am saying that the propaganda that they used, if you go back and you do the research, it is very, very similar. So again, I am Jewish and I am saying this because people say, I can't believe you would say that. But listen, I am Jewish and I am saying this because I'm not so attached to an identity that I can't say what is truth. Does that make sense? People get so attached to, I'm Jewish, so I can't talk about this or you can't talk about that. But then you're more attached to something than you're actually seeing the truth. So we're going back to science. Mm-hmm. Science is beautiful, but it's also very limited with the human construct. And humanity is not as evolved as old civilizations have been. Egyptian civilizations, they were far ahead of us, far, far ahead of us. And we are just catching up to it right now. We're just catching up.